Oh, there she is, the almost birthday girl. It's the scariest movie of the decade. Hail Satan! Longlegs is the scariest movie of the decade. It was distributed by Neon Studios. It's the scariest movie of the decade. It was written and directed by Oz Perkins, or Osgood Perkins as he's known, the son of the late great Anthony Perkins. Yes, we all go a little mad sometimes. If you didn't know who the fuck Anthony Perkins was, you don't know your horror movies. Jump on Psycho. Don't jump on it. It's a movie. You can't jump on a movie. You could jump on a DVD or a Blu-ray, then you'd break it. You have to buy it again. Watch Psycho. It's really goddamn iconic. But yes, Osgood Perkins has done horror or horror-adjacent projects such as The Blackcoat's Daughter and Gretel and Hansel. That was certainly a choice. It was atmospheric, and that's about all it was. But we have the scariest movie of the decade, Longlegs. And Neon Studios put a hell of a marketing campaign behind this. I was seeing trailers back months and months ago. Didn't know what the fuck it was for the longest goddamn time. Just saw weird stuff. Saw Micah Monroe, Agent Lee Harker. That's who she plays. She's standing in front of something, looking at this weird occult stuff, and there's weird occult symbols, and nobody knew what the hell it was, and eventually revealed the title was Longlegs. And then more viral marketing to the point there was a number you could call and you could get a really creepy message, and they just hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped. Hype. The Neon Studios Longlegs show. They really hyped this up like crazy. And anytime you get a movie that's labeled as the scariest movie of the decade, or the best movie of the decade, or the best movie of the year, or whatever, look, expectations sometimes are hard to meet because viewers really can, they want to spend their time properly. They don't want to watch a complete shit movie in theaters or at home. They want to spend their time watching something they're going to enjoy. Whether it's a serious subject they can dive headfirst into, whether it's something horror or horror adjacent that is labeled as the scariest movie of the decade, they want to feel that their time was well spent, their investment was properly paid off. And when it comes to expectations, hype like that, they can either be met or even exceeded, or they can fall flat on their goddamn face and make you wonder, what the fuck? Why in the world did they hype it up like that? So I'm going to give some non-spoiler, description of the plot as best I can, get into some minor stuff as far as the trailer and as far as clips that you might have seen, and then get into full spoilers a little bit later on. But yes, Longlegs is the scariest movie of the decade. Micah Monroe, who is in It Follows, Significant Other, and other projects. Agent Lee Harker, who is bound determined to crack the case of a notorious serial killer who has left a trail of victims, all involving families, and along, in some Oregon households. It's set in Oregon, or at least somewhere around that, because we see Oregon license plates. Could be taking place in goddamn Washington for all I know. It's bleak and depressing sometimes here with the weather, so it's kind of hard to tell. Some of the areas all blend together. It's not Portland, because it didn't really look like there was so much bad shit going on here. I mean, besides the aforementioned killings and the 40-plus victims. But yes, Agent Lee Harker, Micah Monroe, she teams up with Blair Underwood, who plays Agent Carter. So, if his wife had to go find him, would she have to get Carter? Ha ha! So anyway, Blair Underwood, I actually like him. I think he's pretty good. Yes, Nicolas Cage plays Longlegs. Nicolas Cage, rather, playing somebody completely unhinged. That's the kind of Nicolas Cage we enjoy. That's the kind of Nicolas Cage that we have enjoyed for many, many years. A few decades. Speaking of a few decades, all these killings have taken place over a few decades, and it's really, really strange. In this case, they were no closer to solving it until Agent Lee Harker came along, and then things blew wide open. And then we get flashbacks, and we get images, and we get Nicolas Cage acting unhinged as Longlegs, and we get some really, really cool camera tricks and shots to the point where it's like it's all focused, but it's that weird, where it almost looks like triangle-like, or it almost looks like it could be circle-like, like you're looking out of the lens that they use for the aliens and It Came From Outer Space. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, watch It Came From Outer Space. So Micah Monroe is trying to crack this case. She has pseudo abilities to really, notice certain things, notice certain details. She starts to crack the code, and then things get really, really weird when things start to blow wide open. Also, there's chapters, or parts. There's part 1, there's part 2, and there's part 3. And this isn't like Kinds of Kindness. This is about an hour shorter than Kinds of Kindness, just so you know. And yes, Nicolas Cage does get a few chances to flex his unhinged muscles. And from there, we have a movie that is, in the vein of Silence of the Lambs with a few twists and everything. In fact, this thing was compared to Silence of the Lambs and actually compared pretty favorably to Silence of the Lambs. Critics were hyping it up. Film festivals, a lot of people, they were able to see early screenings of this. I jumped at the chance to get a ticket for this because I love Neon Studios, A24 Neon Studios, and it might not even be that close. It really might just be where they're just pretty much even, willing to take chances on projects the bigger studios might not take without messing them up and screwing up all this stuff and everything and saying, yeah, could you just do it more mainstream and not take chances? So yeah, when Neon Studios puts their stamp of approval on something, all right, I'm for it. I'm absolutely for it. So yeah, how was this? How was the scariest movie of the decade? Yeah, my ass, this is the scariest movie of the decade. What the fuck were people watching? What in the world was scary about this? This wasn't scary. This wasn't creepy. It was unsettling at points because Nicolas Cage was almost unrecognizable. And yes, there are some cool gore shots and some cool things, but do you want to know the most unsettling thing about this goddamn movie? The fact that Micah Moreau, or Mike, however the fuck you say her name, Mako Monroe is what I keep wanting to call her, because her Mako ran out a while ago. That's a Final Fantasy VII reference, by the way, just in case you didn't get it. She was in It Follows, and she was in Significant Other, and she's been in other stuff, and I have yet to see her act any more interested than, I don't know, somebody that was recently revived, or recently came out of a 20-year coma and was confused. In fact, I've seen coma patients that can't talk and can't communicate in any possible way that have more energy than she does on camera. And I don't expect her to be doing dance scenes. Heidi, 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 Heidi. Ooh, 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 her. I don't expect her to be clowning around. But good God, could she act like somebody didn't just run over, I don't know, a bunch of her favorite things in front of her or whatever. Yes, she's playing an FBI agent, but I've seen people compare her to Jodie Foster from Silence of the Lambs. What the fuck were you guys watching? Jodie Foster at least had energy, but she had a wide-eyed innocence, but you believed she could do something. I don't believe that Micah Moreau could get out of her car without help in this. Or in general, actually. I mean, she seems nice enough in interviews, but God, disinterested doesn't even begin to cover it. Speaking of disinterested, I was disinterested when I realized this movie tipped its hand very, 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 very early. Practically in the opening scene. And unfortunately, any twist that this movie attempted to have could be seen coming from about 5 miles away. And the fact that a couple particular characters couldn't see this coming, including one character where everything was tied to them, and the fact they couldn't see all of this just proves they're fucking idiotic. And yes, they try to explain this away, but it's really fucking stupid. Like, I didn't expect this movie to have logic, and it's not even that the movie is illogical. It tries to present the illogical in a logical way, but it's just silly and stupid and not scary. I'm sorry, I cannot emphasize enough just how unfrightening this movie is. There are a couple decent scenes that do involve some nice violence. There's one early investigation that ends in violence that's actually kind of decent. And there are some cool shots where, oh shit, there's somebody in the background. Or, oh shit, there's somebody right behind them. And oh no! And if they had any object permanence or any ability to, I don't know, be aware that somebody was clearly right around them. Or maybe be aware that, hey, I'm around an area where a serial killer is. I probably shouldn't turn my back on this, but I'll just do that. A lot of the characters are really, really fucking stupid. And by the time the movie tries to reveal its, big twist in the third act, yeah, I was bored. I was bored. I wasn't really checking my phone that much. It was a very full theater, but check it a couple times. I go, this is an hour and 41 minutes, and that's it. That's basically what I said during the movie. That's it. That's what we're going with. Nicolas Cage does get one nice scene. I don't know, an hour or so into the movie, hour, 10 minutes, or whatever it is. where he is able to go full on unhinged Nicolas Cage and have the movie just lean more into the ridiculous in an entertaining way. And I'm not talking go full comedy, but this movie felt so drab and so lifeless. Not hopeless, just lifeless. Like, you can have that feeling of dread and that feeling like, oh shit, this is all fucked up and nothing that anybody does can stop it. The problem is when you don't care about any of the characters and suddenly people just, people have to suddenly realize that, oh, all this shit that they thought was actually the case isn't actually the case, even though we, the viewer, could clearly see this coming from about 5 miles away. It's not good. It's in theaters if you want to check it out. It's not good. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Fuck. Micah Monroe needs to find something else to do. Because she's not good. So in the beginning, there was rap. As our Lord and Savior Dr. Dre once said. It's a snowy day. A girl happens upon Longlegs who's making a delivery for a special birthday girl. And all this crazy stuff going on. And then we cut to Agent Lee Harker, Micah Monroe now, who is bound and determined to make this case, break this case wide open, figure this shit out. She goes with an agent to this house, and that agent gets shot because there's a vicious killer in there, and she ends up capturing this vicious killer. And then as everything expands, it turns out everything's tied to the occult. There's all these symbols, all this stuff. And everything ties back to the fact that all these families had children that were born on the 14th of whatever month. And this started happening back in the 60s, went to the 70s, the 80s, and we're in 1995, I believe. 94, 95. Because there's a picture of Bill Clinton when he was president. I thought it might have been when he was in politics before, but they established through certain, words based on, news articles and a certain thing that ties back to a particular character. Agent Lee Harker, just in case you couldn't figure that out. That made me believe that we were in 94, 95. And also the technology and the lack of cell phones. And the fact that Harker has a really, really bad relationship, strained relationship, shall we say, with her mother. Her mother basically tells her to say her prayers, take her vitamins, and believe in herself. And, oh, you don't want to visit me on your birthday? Well, that doesn't work for mother, brother. I would have loved to have seen Hulk Hogan in this, actually. That would have been kind of funny. Though he wouldn't have wanted to work with Blair Underwood, and we know why. So, that being said, we see Nicolas Cage a few times. He's unhinged. He's at a paint shop, creeps out this girl. What's your birthday, little girl? Or when's your birthday? I don't know who that girl is, but she was kind of funny. There's also this one survivor that Harker and Blair Underwood find. I know that he was named Agent Carter, but just Agent Blair Underwood just sounds funnier to me. It's like the Blair Witch Project for underdeveloped horror movies. And boy, was this underdeveloped, undercooked. It was practically raw. Now, there are some nice violent moments. There's a point where we go to Harker's house, and somebody is in her house. Longlegs or somebody else. So she's talking to her mother. Her mother doesn't really do much of anything. Alicia Witt, by the way, is the mother. And unrecognizable. Absolutely unrecognizable. I like Alicia Witt. I've liked her for a number of years. Glad she at least got a chance to flex her acting muscles here. So, she talks about, yeah, our prayers don't really save us. All this weird shit's going on. This ties to something that happened on Lee's 9th birthday, or just before her 9th birthday. Because since her mother saved everything, there were photos. The mother saved the photos, and at one point, Lee took a picture of Longlegs. So, creepy Nicolas Cage and weird serial killer Santa makeup, and it's just funny. It's like Dr. Wily if Dr. Wily was slightly more unhinged. And didn't have Quick Man, or Metal Man, or Wood Man helping him. Or Airman. God, the Mega Man movies or Mega Man, games got out of control, didn't they? With all the man stuff. So, nevertheless, what's your favorite Mega Man game? Let me know in the comments. So, she finds out the stuff about her mother. Meanwhile, she meets Blair Underwood's wife and daughter. The daughter takes a liking to her. Is it tough being a female FBI agent? Yeah, it's a little scary. It's this. Will you come to my birthday party? Oh, sure. That's something that ties back a little bit later. So Harker's figuring out all this stuff. She even gets a letter in her house. This letter basically says, do not open until January 14th. It's a birthday card to see the sand, and stuff about, from the book of Revelation. Because it's all time back to the occult, time back to religion. So you're thinking, oh shit, oh no, somebody's really, really religious. The mother's talking about religion. Maybe it's the mother. No, it couldn't possibly be the mother. The mother just shut in. The mother couldn't do that. Well, guess who's responsible for all this? Okay, so they capture Nicolas Cage. Because a little bit earlier, we see Nicolas Cage in a basement. And then we see that there's this locked door that looks like it goes to this basement in her mother's house, which was Lee's house. And she can't get in there, and she can't quite get the key. I wonder who's down there. Everybody's acting shocked because nobody's smart. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Micah Moreau, by the way, is continuing to act like she is literally being forced at gunpoint to act. Like, seriously, show a modicum of enthusiasm. Take a caffeine pill. Take something. Don't take drugs, but take something. Don't take illicit drugs, at least. So, Blair, there's another agent that joins her to go to her mother's house. But before that, they managed to capture Longlegs. And he has this great speech. He's, he sings happy birthday to her on this tape. And they turn off this tape. And she says, how long does that go on? Oh, for about another 24 minutes. Which I, honestly probably would have added a little bit more to this movie. It certainly would have been more interesting than watching Micah Moreau attempt to act and drain every bit of life out of this fucking movie. I don't know if this is coming across, but I really don't think she's very good. So anyway, she's been acting for how goddamn long, and she's still this average at best. So nevertheless, she talks to Longlegs. Longlegs reveals a few things, but talks some riddles. Oh, there she is, the almost birthday girl. And then it's talking about how his presence will be felt even after he's gone. Something to that effect. Also, stuff gets revealed by one particular person, Kiernan Shipka, who plays somebody that was a surviving child of this family, where the dad ended up axing the mother, and the mother was very upset because she had a scar from having a C-section, so she was seen as unperfect. But this doll suddenly shows up that looks remarkably similar to their daughter. And the mother's even practicing stabbing the daughter, like, you did this to me, you bastard. Doesn't look like a knife. I got the Bryan Adams song wrong. These weird dolls and things are popping up. Okay, what the hell's going on here? They find a doll, they investigate it, and it turns out it has this weird ball on its head. This ball that has an energy to it. But this makes no goddamn sense. How could a metal ball have energy to it, unless it's like a magnet? Well, you can almost hear, or it can make you feel things and stuff like that. And also, Agent Lee seems to have a bit of a psychic type link where she can see certain things. She was able to prevent herself from getting shot, and that agent got shot a little bit earlier. So what the hell's going on here? Well, it turns out that the mother actually has been carrying out all this stuff for Longlegs, because Longlegs proceeds to bash his face into the goddamn desk and dies. Which actually was kind of a good scene. The blood and all that. And then, the mother's doing all this stuff. Because the mother got captured by Longlegs. Nobody had ever come to visit them. And she said, spare my daughter, who is born on the 14th. Spare her, and I will do what you say. And she did. She would take his evil in the form of these dolls, deliver them under the guise of being a member of the church, and would spread his evil far and wide. That's it. That's the explanation. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And this doll basically would take over, would carry out these killings, would make the dad kill, all this stuff would go on. So, the mother ends up killing the one agent that's with her. That's kind of while Lee is trying to look for her. And then while she is, and then the mother's got this gun aimed at this doll. This doll that looks remarkably like Lee as a child. Shoots her, or shoots the doll, and then suddenly Lee just feels weird about all this kind of stuff. And then she's even more comatose and out of it than usual, which is remarkable considering Micah Monroe, I don't think, has had brain activity in about 10 goddamn years. That's mean. I'm sure she's nice. She's just not a very good actress. So, one final thing. That birthday party for Blair Underwood's daughter. You know, oh, just arrives. Hey, the birthday's here. Her gifts are here. She's already opened the doll. And the doll, the evil and everything's already taken over, making Blair Underwood all evil. The mother's sitting there. And then this is one kind of funny line. It's funny to me just because at this point I just threw my hands up and just gave up because I was like, whatever, it's a comedy. But Blair Underwood says, hey, you want to come and help me cut the cake? Oh, yeah, we'll come back. No, I'll come back. You'll still be in the kitchen. And you hear this muffled sound of her being stabbed. And then she ends up shooting Blair Underwood, shoots the mother. Then the mother's like, if you do that, if you don't allow them all to die, then we're going to suffer. And then, yeah, she shoots her mother. She takes the daughter. She can't shoot the doll. And yeah, the evil still is around. That's Longlegs. That's fucking Longlegs. That's it. That's it. That's what the fuck Longlegs is. This went longer than I expected, but I had some things I wanted to talk about, and the fact this movie was bullshit. Yeah, it was stylistically impressive, I will say that much, but as far as story, as far as scares, as far as creep, as far as unsettling, yeah, I don't really see, I don't see it. This ain't it, Chief. Anyway, yeah, F, I'm sorry, F, it just gets an F. To me, anything that's below 2.5 stars is an F because it's below average then. So, one of the most disappointing movies that I've seen this year. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Riplin. I'll see you soon.